Breaking tonight, the investigation into the IRS dramatically widening into potentially two scandals. There is, of course, the targeting of conservative groups and now a potential cover-up with new questions reaching all the way to the White House. Welcome to the Kelly File. I'm Shannon Bream in for Megyn Kelly. Just 1 week ago, the new head of the IRS revealed that thousands of emails belonging to the woman at the center of the IRS targeting scandal are missing and totally unrecoverable. Congress, and according to the latest polls, nearly 1 out of every 8 Americans not buying it. Tonight, Congress demanding the White House and 5 other federal agencies turn over any and all communications they had with the IRS regarding these allegedly lost emails. Chief Congressional Correspondent Mike Emanuel is live in Washington. Hi, Mike.
Well, hi, Shannon. Yeah, IRS Commissioner John Koskinen sent a letter late today to House Ways and Means Chairman Dave Camp saying the IRS should be able to turn over the Lois Lerner emails it has to the tax writing committees by the end of next week. Koskinen says he was hoping to provide a full response today, but critical information is still being collected and verified. Many Republicans on Capitol Hill are still pushing for a special prosecutor to investigate the IRS mess, and some say there should be a financial incentive.
We know those emails are out there. We know they can be found. We just need the people to help find them. And don't forget the other, not just carrot, but the stick. We reduce everybody's salary in the IRS 20% until the emails are produced.
The IRS commissioner also said late today the Treasury Inspector General expects to have an interim expedited report on the missing emails in a matter of weeks. But House lawmakers aren't waiting around for that. Late today, Dave Camp from Ways and Means and Subcommittee Chair Charles Bustani asked the White House and Treasury how they learned of Lois Lerner's hard drive crash, who told them, and more. The committee's also requesting all communications between 5 other IRS employees who had hard drive crashes and the White House, Treasury, Justice, EPA, Federal Election Commission, and OSHA. Yet President Obama has gone back to calling this a phony scandal.
Sometimes the news that's coming off is these are just Washington fights. They're fabricated issues, they're phony scandals that are generated.
If the IRS commissioner is correct and they will be turning over Lois Lerner emails by the end of next week, the issue you run into is, of course, the 4th of July holiday. That would be one of the best times to dump bad news when Americans are enjoying fireworks and family and not focused on the IRS mess. Shannon?
Mike Emanuel in Washington. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Joining us now, Mark Thiessen, former chief speechwriter for President George W. Bush and a fellow at the American Enterprise Institute. All right, Mark, sounds like now they've got 2 scandals for the price of 1.
Yeah, it's exactly what's happening. It used to be, first there was the scandal of the improper targeting of conservative groups by the IRS, and now we have the new scandal of the IRS's cover-up of the first scandal, which Congress is now dramatically expanding its investigation of. And look, it's been like pulling teeth for Congress to get information on this. I mean, recall, in February, the IRS claims it knew that Lois Lerner's emails had been lost. 2 years of her emails had been lost. Yet in May, they were still telling Congress that they were going to produce the emails they didn't have. It was not until June that they finally fessed up to Congress that the emails had been lost. And you know how they did it? They did it on page 15 of a letter that was dumped to Congress on a Friday afternoon. It was like they were hoping nobody would notice that 2 years of her emails had disappeared. So these people are not being upfront, and that's why Congress is investigating to find out exactly what they knew and when they knew it.
Okay, back in May of 2013, we may all remember the president came out. He said he was angry. He said this was inexcusable conduct, talking about potentially using the IRS to target political enemies. He said that he would work, quote, hand in hand with Congress to get to the bottom of that. That's not happened. In fact, you know, he told our own Bill O'Reilly that there wasn't even a smidgen of corruption in an interview earlier this year. All right, so let's look at the polling. How does the American public feel about it? Were these accidentally destroyed? Were they deliberately destroyed when we're now talking about the missing emails? Look at the numbers there. It's not even close. 76% say deliberately. Only 12% think it was accidental. 12% say unsure. Mark, do you think there will be enough public pressure at this point that the White House is going to have to acknowledge this is legit and do something about it?
I think there is, and I think you got to put this in context of everything else that's been going on. I mean, this is in the wake of the president's "you can keep your health care plan" lie, where everybody believes that he intentionally lied to the country. More than half of the American people think that the president regularly lies on matters of importance, and so it's no surprise now when you have this kind of cover-up and this kind of drips and drabs of information coming out that's being pulled like pulling teeth, that it looks like they're covering something up. So of course the American people are upset about it and want answers. And by the way, if the president is working hand in hand with Congress, I'd hate to see what obstruction looks like, because this is not cooperation in the least bit.
All right, so Koskinen now, the head of the IRS, has been beat up pretty badly on Capitol Hill a couple times in the last week or so. He says now in this letter today, we're doing everything we can. We're going to get you these things as soon as we can. We're trying to get them to you by the end of next week. Of course, that's a holiday. So do you think that means we might actually get something substantive that they want to release on a Friday holiday, 4th of July? I mean, what do you think we're going to get, if anything?
Well, we've been put on notice that there could be some big news that day, so we'll all be waiting for it. But look, Koskinen has lost all credibility. I mean, Senator Claire McCaskill has called him arrogant, the Democratic senator from Missouri. So the Democrats are upset with him. And you know, one of the reasons why Democrats are upset with him is because he's lied to them too. In the Monday after the fact of the Lois Lerner emails being destroyed came out, he met with Senator Wyden, the Democratic chairman of the Senate Finance Committee, and just failed to mention that 6 other employees who are under investigations also had their hard drives mysteriously crash. So a lie of omission when he knew it had happened, and over in the House the IRS was telling him he didn't mention it to the Democrats. So the Democrats are getting lied to as well. This is something that we got to get to the bottom of. There's a scandal here that needs to be cleared up, because the American people have a right to know whether their government was targeting the president's political opponents and whether the IRS is trying to cover it up.
We know a number of lawsuits on that note continue as well. Mark, good to see you. Thank you.
Thanks, Shannon.